Welcome to Think Your Way Up with Dr. Jinneh, the only space in the world where neuroscience, executive leadership, and purpose-driven principles collide to help you disrupt your dysfunctional thoughts and do life and business better. I'm Dr. Jinneh, the friend in your head who will challenge you each week to evict your mental chatter, eliminate your yo-yo thinking, and help you attain the clarity and tools to think up. So let's disrupt the mental chatter together because your next breakthrough starts now. Welcome to Think Your Way Up.
Hey, Think Up friend. Welcome back to another episode of Think Your Way Up with Dr. Jinneh. Y'all have been showing out. You have been showing me so much love about this podcast and even what the first few episodes have done for you, how they have changed how you think about setbacks and obstacles and how you are choosing to do life differently and with a more intentional focus. So I just want to say thank you. It is truly an honor. It's truly a joy and a pleasure to be here to serve you. But I meant every word that I said. Whether anyone downloads this, the flow that I'm on is not for the people. It's for the purpose. I'm being obedient. I don't know what God is going to do through me or with this podcast. I just know He told me to do it. He's called me to it. And I'm being obedient in the season. And that's really what I want to talk to you about today, which is all about building the life that you desire. When I was 21, maybe 20, I wasn't 21 yet. I was 20, maybe going into 21, but I was 20 years old and I was in college. I was a sophomore at the University of Texas. And I had hit my rock bottom. I had gotten to a point to where I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was struggling mentally. I was struggling emotionally. I was struggling spiritually. I was struggling financially. I was struggling academically. Like my entire life was falling apart in a way that I never even imagined or thought it could be. I had literally hit my rock bottom and I found myself staring death in its face. So my mom passed away when I was 14, and between the ages of 14 through 20, it was just rough. It was hard. It was taxing. I was in a space to where I couldn't really grieve. I had to move quickly into survival. So I had to grow up a whole lot faster than most of my peers. I had to grow up faster than what I probably even wanted. And if I'm honest, I don't think I ever had the opportunity to grieve the passing of my mother. I went from the closing of the casket to how do I survive? How do I show up? And what I had conditioned myself was that if I do the right thing, if I make the grades, if I show up as a leader, if I participate in this event, participate in this extracurricular activity, like if I did all the right things, then life would be easy. Life would be good. Nobody would see the pain. Nobody would see that I'm hurting. So I learned early on how to mask my pain behind the face of perfection. Like I learned, like if I just perfect, if I just excel, if I just perform, if I just show up, nobody would know how hurt and how broken I was on the inside. So this is the space that I moved in and thrived in from age 14 to probably around 20 when I had my breaking point where I just showed up as the person that I wanted to be. I showed up as the girl that I admired, the girl that I envied, like the girl that I wish I was. I showed up as her. So I had this whole persona and demeanor. Like that Jinneh was confident. That Jinneh was thriving. That Jinneh was social. She was vibrant. She was out there. But the girl on the inside was insecure, was hurting, was broken, and didn't know how she could make it another day. So everything will run its course. That was one of the things my grandmother used to always say. It's like whatever's on the inside is going to come out. And it had ran its course. I was tired. I was physically and mentally and emotionally exhausted. That exhaustion turned to frustration because I'm like, how do you do the right thing? How do you go to school, make good grades, you show up, and life still sucks? How do you praise God and love a God but he allows you to suffer and go through the hardship. So this is me at 20 years old, thinking and talking and questioning every essence of my life. And I had started to slip. I started to slip away from classes. I stopped going to class. I started hanging out with the wrong people. I found myself in this triangulated relationship with a young man that was toxic. Like, I think we bonded over trauma. Like, it was toxic, but we didn't really know that we were toxic. It was just this trauma bonding experience. I found myself like wrapped up in his world, wrapped up in his life, not going to class, partying all the time, hanging out with the wrong people, just like on this wrong track, just going down this wrong path. And with all of this, I ended up failing. I failed one semester. And then I was like, well, that semester is a wrap. So I failed another semester. And before I knew it, I had lost every single one of my scholarships. I had found myself placed on academic probation. And that was hard for me because your next outing, your next option will be home. And I didn't have a home. I didn't have anywhere to go. So my safe haven, my refuge, my place was literally in this college apartment I had to figure out. And I remember going through this, facing everything. Like, I couldn't work. I had given up on school. I had this academic probation notice. I had really isolated myself from my friends. I was in this toxic, traumatic relationship. Like, it was just, everything was just falling apart. Like, it was just horrible. Like, I was losing weight. My hair is falling out. I had found myself in this very hard position, made a very devastating decision about some things in my life. And I was like, I'm done. Like, I can't do this. And I started praying. You know, I didn't really have a relationship with God. I knew who God was. I grew up in the church, had been to church, was in the church. So I knew how to do church, but I didn't have a relationship with God. I didn't really know who Christ was. I didn't know how to talk to God and talk to Jesus for myself. So I remember praying and I started asking God not to let me wake up. Like, God, I can't do this. Like, don't wake me up. Like, God, if you're going to send death angels, like, pick me tomorrow, pick me today. And I started like really praying to die. And, you know, when I think about it, because I often am asked this question when I'm telling the story from the stage, did I want to die? And I don't think I wanted to die. I wanted to, as much so as I wanted the pain to end. The pain had become so unbearable that I wanted to end. But I remember this night, I was sitting there and I'm like, God, I can't do this. Like, I'm done. Like, if you don't take me out tomorrow, I'm taking myself out because I can't go another day. I can't, like, I don't understand why my life is so bad. I don't understand why I hurt like this. I don't understand the pain. I don't understand why my mom had to leave me. I don't understand why everybody's turned their back. Like, I felt so alone. I felt so isolated. And I really just said, God, like, I'm done. I'm at this space where if you don't do it, I'm doing it for myself. Like, I'm going to be done. I'm going to be gone. And I know nobody's going to miss me because I don't even matter to anybody. So I was in a very, very, very low space. And I remember praying. And I remember sitting there pleading for God not to wake me up. I pleaded. And I heard this voice and he said, you got to think up. You got to create the life that you want in your mind first. And I didn't know what that meant. I didn't even know where this voice came from. It was the first time ever in my life that I heard God audibly speak to me. And I think he had to reveal himself to me in that moment because he knew that I wouldn't hear or recognize any of the signs. And when I heard that voice, you have to think up, I realized that number one, whatever it is that I want to be or who I want to be, I'm going to have to create that. And number two, nobody in this life, in this world, is coming to save me. I'm going to have to create the life that I want. And I also realized that that just wasn't for me, as also for you. That if you're connected to me, you're probably not a trust fund baby. Nobody's probably going to come save you. You probably are going to have to dig deep and create the life that you want as well. So today I want to offer you some things that I have worked through some things that I've helped others work through as we start thinking about what does it look like to create what we desire. So grab a pen because your girl is about to teach you some things today. I think the biggest realization for me that I had to remind myself is that everything I need, it was already inside of me. Like I didn't need to connect with someone. I didn't need to become somebody different. I didn't need to pretend that I was somebody, that everything that I needed to create the life that I desire was already inside of me. So there's a few things that I have had to do that has really helped separate me, what I would say, from the pack. And the pack is from other people that may have similar stories, similar starting places, but are still stuck in their own mind. I had to think about what are the mindset shifts that winners have and the mindset shifts that watchers have. Like, do I want to be a winner or a watcher? Do I want to sit on the sideline and cheer and celebrate and watch everybody else win? Or do I want to be the person that's winning the race? So that was a big part of the shift that I had to make. The second thing is that I had to start thinking about what are the habits that I need to develop every single day, because it is your daily habits that create massive change. So if I want to win, it wasn't just winning on the scoreboard. It was about play after play, motion after motion, decision after decision that really positioned me for the life of change. And then I had to move into action. Like I couldn't just dream about it. I couldn't just think about it. I couldn't just have the great intention. I had to take action because your action will beat your intention every single time. So if you've been waiting for a sign to start, then guess what? This is your sign. So when we think about mindset, the mindset shifts that separate winners from watchers. Now, seeing this over and over and over from working with corporate executives to elite athletes to other senior leaders is that success isn't just about talent. It's not about are we talented? Are we qualified? Are we gifted? Because everybody at some point is talented. Everybody at some point is elite. Everybody at some point is gifted. You know, one of my clients is a former WNBA player, and we talk about this every time we have a conversation about how on a certain level, everybody's good, everybody's great, everybody's elite. So success isn't just about talent. What it really boils down to is how you think and what you do daily. Like, what do your reps look like before and after practice? What are you thinking about? How are you setting yourself up for success visually and mentally? Like, what are you thinking about? Because are you focused on growth? Are you taking action and are you adapting? Are you waiting for the perfect moment and you're making excuses? Like if I had to divide the room into half, there's going to be half the people that are the winners, that they are focused on growth. They're focused on what do I need to do so that I can grow, so that I can develop, so I can be better. And they're going to take action and they're going to adapt. And then I have the people that are on the bench, the watchers. They are waiting for the perfect moment and they're making excuses. But if we just go back to basic mindset work, Carol Dweck's work, she shows that people with a growth mindset, that's the mindset of where they're constantly evolving, they're constantly thinking about how they can be better. They achieve 30% more than those with a fixed mindset, those that are waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for the opportunity. So your mindset is extremely important, if not the most important thing in your success. You know, I would read studies about 80% of your success is mindset, 20% is your action. And I'm like, you know what? I believe it's 99%. It's 99% what you think and what you believe, and then the 1% of what you do. Because your mindset is everything. Like it controls every aspect of what you're doing. So as we talk about it, I want you to ask yourself, when in times are you in that winning role? And when do you find yourself in that watching role? Like, are you watching other people build profitable and impactful brands on social media, but you're thinking that they are better than you, have more knowledge than you, more information, more resources, so you're sitting and watching? Or are you in the game and saying, I'm going to build it and I'm going to start where I am? Like, where are you? Because let me tell you, your start is better than sitting on the bench. So start with what you have, start with where you are. That was the thing, even with this podcast. I don't have fancy equipment. I'm not using fancy editing. Like, you gonna get me. You're gonna get the raw. You're gonna get the real. You're gonna get me at home. You may even hear some kids in the background yelling and screaming and fighting over sheets, because I don't want to be curated. I don't want to be inauthentic. I want to bring you my whole authentic self. I want to show my people, I want to show the people that are called to me how to live out loud and how to lead out loud. Like, how do you lead and do the things that you're called to do with what you have? Like, how do you use what's in your hand? Because that's what winners do. Winners focus on growth. They take action and they adapt. They grow and evolve. And people on the sideline, those watchers, they're waiting for the perfect moment. They're waiting for the fancy equipment. They're waiting to have the editors. They're waiting for the kids to be grown and out the house or gone. But I'm not waiting no more. I'm choosing to step into the space. I'm choosing to do the thing that I'm called to do, because I know on the other side of this, on the other side of my fear, my excuses, and my doubt, my worries, there's greatness and there's opportunities, but I will never get there, and neither will you if you don't step into the space. So that's number one, is that you got to have the mindset of a winner and not a watcher. The second thing that you have to do is that you have to have daily habits that will help you create massive change. Your habits determine your future. Your habits. That means that you're responsible for your future. It is not luck. It is not motivation. It is not turning around in a circle 3 times. It is your habits. There was a study that was done by Duke University, and it showed that 40% of what we do daily is habit-based. So 40% of your day is based off habits. So if you want success, you got to build success habits. If you want financial growth, you got to build wealth habits. If you want confidence, you got to build a habit of speaking up and showing up and doing this over and over and over. It doesn't happen by happenstance. It doesn't happen by coincidence. It happens by you being intentional and you being persistent and doing the things that you know you're supposed to do. And the third thing that has helped me start creating the life that I desire is that I just take action. I stop waiting and I start building. I stop waiting for my name to be called and I pick up my mic and start my own show. I stop waiting for somebody to write me a check and I start creating my own income. I stopped waiting for people to pick me and I started picking myself. You got to stop waiting and you have to start building. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is that the ones that succeed, they start and they don't stop. They start and they don't quit. They start and they don't get down and frustrated and not pivot. They adapt and they keep going. Remember, it's not about being ready. You just got to start. Because if we're honest, you'll probably never be ready. We'll always have a reason why we can't. We'll always have a reason why we make excuse. So gone are the days where we're making excuses. Gone are the days where you have to pull yourself together and have everything in place before you can show up. You got to show up now. There's people that need you. There's people that are seeking what you can offer them. But if you're in hiding, they can't find you. If you're in hiding, you can't help them. So in this season, I want you to get serious. I want you to be committed to building the life that you desire, no matter what and no matter how long it takes. Here's what I know is certain. It won't be easy at all, but it will definitely be worth it. But you got to lean in and you got to lock in so that you can get it done. So I promise you, I promise you. If you commit to it and if you can stick to it, you're going to be okay. So I love you. So let's get to our Think Up Friend question of the week. And this question actually comes from Sherry. Sherry is in Arkansas. So what's up, Sherry? I hope you are doing well, my friend. Sherry says, hey, Dr. Jinneh, first off, I just want to say I love your podcast. I've been thinking about starting a speaking our coaching business. But here's the thing. I had no formal experience doing it. I know I have a story to tell. I know I can help people. And I've been through so many things that have given me valuable lessons. But I feel stuck because I don't know where to start or how to position myself as an expert. How do I launch my speaking or coaching business from scratch without feeling like an imposter? Girl, first off, let me just say, you do not need permission to step into your calling. If God has called you to it, that means you have already been qualified for it. You don't need a fancy title. You don't need years of experience. You don't need someone to hand you a badge that says certified speaker. You don't need a big name. You don't even need tons of followers. What you need is clarity, strategy, and confidence to start with what you have and where you are. So let's break this down because I promise you, you're not the only one out there that is sitting with this question. There's so many speakers, there's so many coaches that are standing exactly where you are. So there's a few myths about starting in the speaking or coaching business. And the first myth is that I need more experience before I start. Like I need to have these degrees, I need to have qualifications. Like I need to be somebody before I start. And let me tell you, experience is not measured in years. It's measured in results. Baby, that's a mic drop. And I'm going to say that again for my person in the back of the room. Experience isn't measured in years. It's measured in results. What are the results that you have produced, are producing, or can produce? Because that matters most than having somebody that's in something 20, 30 years, but they don't have results. They don't have receipts. So your lived experiences are valuable. Your lived experiences is what's needed. You don't need 10 years in the industry to do that. All you need is a clear message, a problem you can solve, and a willingness to show up and serve your people. So here's some things I want you to think about. Who are the people that you've already helped? Whether it's church, PTA, people in your job, people in your community. How have you helped them? What have they come to you before? What have those results looked like for their life? What results have you created in your own life? Start sharing this information in a very compelling and passionate way. Of course, I love storytelling because I believe that stories sell. So start telling the stories, start sharing that information. The second thing that I want to drop this and dispel it is that you don't need a certification to be a coach. Now, do certifications help people? Yeah, they do. They can help people get into certain doors, get into certain rooms. And of course, it's always great to have some additional knowledge, information under your belt to say that you have tried things. But even ICF, which is the International Coaching Federation, they did a study back in 2021. It was called the ICF Global Coaching Study. And they said that 90% of successful coaches, they built their business on testimonials, content, and real life impact, not their degrees. So there's value in testimonials. There's value in the content, and there's value in the real life impact that you create. So you don't need a certification. They are nice, but they don't necessarily guarantee you for success. All you need is to start helping people get real results for real people. That builds credibility, and start with where you are and what you have. And then I'm going to hit this last tip for you. And that is, you don't need to be a big name speaker before you get paid. Listen, corporations, schools, organizations, and conferences, they're looking for speakers at all levels and all budget points. How do I know? Because I'm one of them. They don't care about a big name. Again, they care about results. They care about relatability. They care about, can you connect with the people? Are you authentic? Can you hold a room? What is the transformation? What is the information? How can you inspire, motivate, and inform the people around them? What will the people get when you walk into the room? So big name doesn't mean best speaker. Can you solve the problem? And guess what? The speaking industry, it's a $1.9 billion industry. So there's a lot of money to go around. And 80% of the people that are out there speaking, they are not famous names. They are people just like you and me that are passionate and committed to helping people do life and business better. So here's where you get started. Go local, then global. Find some local things, whether they're conferences, online webinars, panels, things that you can start in your local community. Also offer free talk. Like there's no shame in speaking for free. I built my entire company, my first year, by speaking at a lot of places for free. So offer free talks. This builds confidence. This builds your receipts because you can collect those testimonials. And then it also gives you that social proof because now you have the content. You have the photography, you have the videography, you have that information that now you could go and use and leverage. And, just pitch. You don't know who's going to pay you and who's not. It's not your job to count their budget and to be in their pockets. It's your job to show up. So go ahead, put that pitch out there for small businesses, for schools, community groups, churches. People will pay you, but you have to be ready. So, and if you need help with any of that, of course, click the link below. I have my Operation Speak Up, which teaches you how to get started. Like I created this program based on a notion. If I was building my company today, if I was starting over from scratch, I've been in this thing now for 13 years. If I was starting over, what would I do? How would I do it? And how would I scale to 6 figures? That is what Operation Speak Up is about. I give you the foundational framework to how I've been able to build this company. So start there. And then, of course, follow me on all social media platforms because I'm always dropping tips. I'm always dropping strategies and things to help you. So I hope this helps. Can't wait to see you in one of the programs. And if you are someone who's out there and you have a pressing question and you want my insight, you want me to answer, be sure to send us an email at info@jinnehdyson.com, and we would love to answer your question live on the next show. Until then, I will see you next week.
Thank you for tuning in to Think Your Way Up with Dr. Jinneh. I hope today's episode challenged your thinking, shifted your perspective, and gave you the tools to disrupt your mental chatter and step boldly into your greatness. Remember, friend, you're just one thought away from the clarity, confidence, and transformation you deserve. If you love today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs this message. Let's spread the power of thinking up together. Until next time, keep challenging your limits, evicting your doubts, and creating the life and business you were meant to live. You've got this. I believe in you. See you next week on Think Your Way Up with Dr. Jinneh.